Hi, Stitchy friends. This is Heather, the 20-minute Stitcher. My pronouns are she, her, and you have found my little corner of the internet where I talk about my love of cross stitch. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Please know that everyone is welcome here. I think I said this is episode number 65. It's been about 5 weeks since my last episode. If you are new here, here's how I do things around here. I record on approximately a monthly schedule. And I always start by kind of going through my previous month's stats using my Notion template. And then I share my finishes and my new starts and my whips, any acquisitions that I have. And then I usually close out my videos with a little bit of what I have been reading, watching, and playing. And I do have a little bit of that today. So I have a lot to share today. I have kind of stitched a little bit on a lot of things in the last sort of 5 weeks. So we'll get to the stitching very quickly. By way of a quick life update, my daughter turned 18 in October. She turned in her Eagle Scout application after completing her Eagle project. It was a very stressful couple of weeks. The weather was looking like it wasn't going to cooperate, and then it did, thank goodness. She actually has her Eagle Scout Board of Review tomorrow afternoon. So if you happen to watch this before then, Sunday, November 10th would be that day of her Board of Review. Definitely welcome any good vibes you want to send her way. Other than that, it's just been busy with work, busy with kids, all the things that life stays busy with. But my daughter turning 18, casting her first vote, and getting ready for her Eagle Scout Board of Review have definitely been the highlights lately. Indoor soccer season has started. My son's his travel team finished the fall half of the outdoor season, tied for first place in their league, which is really exciting. And his first indoor game ever was quite the eye-opener as a goalkeeper. It's much more active. It was rough. They lost 4-2. My son took it very, very hard. But there are lots of things about indoor soccer he doesn't know because he's never played a game before. So now he has one game under his belt, and he's getting better. He's excited. Goalkeeper camp starts this coming Friday, the 15th. So he's excited to get back into some specialized goalkeeper training as well. So that's kind of what's keeping me busy lately. So let's go ahead and jump into the stitching because, as I mentioned, there's lots to share. So as I always do, let's go ahead and start with let me switch over, sharing with you my Notion template. So for those of you who are new, I use the Notion template created by Stitchy Nati. There is a link in my description box. It is a paid template, but the price she charges for it is far under what it's actually worth if you are someone who likes to track your stitching. I actually never tracked my stitching before, but I thought this looked kind of fun and I would give it a try, and I love it. I love all she's made it so user-friendly, and it is it's fun to see the numbers come together because, again, if you are new here, I call myself the 20-minute stitcher because I typically only get 20 to 30 minutes a day to work on my stitching. I'm a single parent, my kids are busy, I'm busy, but you can still get things done even if you only have 20 or 30 minutes in a day. And this really helps me see what I'm getting done. So this is my October snapshot, and you can see first looking at the left side here, these are all of most of my days that I stitched in the month of October. Sometimes I forget to put entries in, but I do okay. And you can see I stitched on a lot of paper charts because there are not like stitch counts in here in terms of number of stitches that I put in the day. But if we scroll to the bottom, we can see that I stitched 15 separate days in the month of October on 9 different projects. And obviously the sum total of my stitching says I stitched 1,259 stitches. That is significantly undercounting, given how many, probably at least almost half of my days were on paper charts where I wasn't counting my stitches. So if I had to guess, I would say I was probably closer to 2,500 stitches in the month of October. I had 4 new starts and 3 finishes, including, I did have 1 start and finish this month, Nonsense by Bendy Stitchy Designs, which I will show you. So that is my stitching for the month of October, kind of in a snapshot view. And so now let's spend the rest of the video showing you what that stitching actually looked like. So as I always do, I will start with my finishes. So as you just saw, I had 3 of them. And I'm in no particular order. This isn't the order I finished them in, but one finish is Cat Hair Don't Care by Dirty Annie's. And this one, sorry, is in the plastic. I'm calling it a finish. There's still the little mouse charm that goes on the piece, but I'm not going to put that on until I decide how I'm going to finish it, because then that will help determine where I put it. But here is my finish. So I stitched this on 40 count even weave in the color Honey from Bestitch Me. And I just did a floss conversion from the called for, just in color flosses that I had on hand. But that's it. I do have a black cat named Pistachio, so it was appropriate. And I own 4 cats, so there's cat hair everywhere, and one of them happens to be a black cat. So when I saw that chart several years ago, I was like, well, gotta get that one. My next finish was Quirky Quaker Turtle by Darling and Whimsy Designs. I stitched this on a 32 count Lugana in the color Water Nymph using my own floss conversion. I used a Treenway Silks in the color Rosemary and a cotton floss from my friend Jamie and her Wonderland Hand Dyed Fabrics floss line in the color Mock Turtle. Sorry, I need to enunciate. And here is my finish. So that is Quirky Quaker Turtle by Darling and Whimsy Designs. And then my final finish is Nonsense by Bendy Stitchy Designs. And it is right here. This was stitched on 32 count Lugana in the color Coconut Shell by Bestitch Me. And here is the finish. Sorry, I did not iron. I mean, not sorry, I never iron until I'm ready to fully finish. But there it is, Be the Nonsense. All right, those are my 3 finishes for October. Moving on to my new starts. So this is actually going to be my October and my November new starts so far this month. So I haven't had any finishes in November yet. The rest of the video is going to be my October and November so far, new starts and whips. So let's start with new starts. I say first one, again, these are not in the order that I started them, but first one is Collect Moments by Lizzie Kate. I'm stitching this, not the scissor fob, but this. And I am stitching this on sort of just a random blue linen that I've had in my stash for ages, after it was in my mom's stash for ages. And I am definitely having to do some conversions because the called for blue, the called for, it's like a light brown, but the color that Moments is in did not show up on my fabric. So I have done a little bit of converting, but here is where I am so far on this chart. So it is coming along nicely, but you'll see that I decided to stitch the word Moments in the same blue that's used down here. I think Moments is supposed to be in the color of those little single squares there, but it just really didn't show up well against the dark fabric. So I decided to use the lighter blue. Oh no, they're not the same color. Moments is supposed to be in the color 646. But it just did, I stitched the first half of the M and I could barely see it. But anyway, so that is that project. This was one of my Safco calls for either September or October. Safco is, Saf is start and finish. So Safco is my version of a whip go board where I am working on, where my goal is to start and finish the project in the month that it was called. I have fallen very far behind on my whip go boards this year, but I'll get there. Next new start is one that I was completely enabled by, and I had purchased the chart book, like the book already. So it's out of the book Hello Halloween by Teresa Kogut. I shared this in my September 29th video. Or maybe it was my episode 63. I shared this in one of my, either my last episode or the one before. And Natasha of Britches Get Stitches was like, oh, we're starting a sale. You should join us. And I said, oh, no. No, please. Don't make me. No. Don't twist my arm. That hurts. So I started it on October 1st. And because I'm crazy. And I am stitching this, sorry, it is, I made a photocopy of the chart. So I tried to get it into my markup RXP and the chart just didn't copy well. I am stitching this on a 25 count Aida. 25 count? Yeah, 25 count Aida, 1/1. So it's a big piece. And here is my tiny little start. I only stitched on it one day, on October 1st, right? The day the sale started. But that is my start. So I am stitching it with kind of a mix of the called for fancy flosses and the DMC alternatives. But I'm excited. It's a cute chart. It's super fun. But yeah, I only stitched on it one day. So that was my tiny little start on Hello Halloween. Which I talked about the book, but obviously it's this chart. It's the cover chart for this magazine from Teresa Kogut, which is actually my very first Teresa Kogut chart that I've ever stitched. So looking forward to getting some more time in on that one. My next new start is Enjoy the Stitch, the Pincushion. So if you're a returning viewer, you have seen this chart before because earlier in the year, one of my calls for my 24 new starts in 2024 was this larger Enjoy the Stitch chart. But with it is a pincushion chart that looks like this. And I put this chart on my SAFGO board for the year. So my challenge to start and finish it in the month that it was called. And it was called in November. So I have already started it. And here is where I am so far. So I have started stitching the tomato. So not super far into it. This is like 3 days of stitching. I was traveling for work, so I actually brought this project because this even weave is really nice and easy to be able to see when you're not sure what kind of lighting you're going to have. So this I stitched in my hotel room and in the airport. So that is Enjoy the Stitch Pincushion, which hopefully I will finish in the month of November because it was one of my calls to start and finish in this month. And then my last new start is actually 2 new starts, except I don't think I put the one in my Notion. So I actually have one more new start than my Notion says that I have. So earlier this year, I think it was earlier this year, time has no meaning anymore. I participated in, or I purchased one of the boxes from Cottage Garden Threads when they were fundraising to sort of keep the shop viable while Pam was having heart surgery and recovering from that surgery. And so the box came with sort of all of these Cottage Garden Thread flosses. You can see I've only opened 2 of them so far. And a whole host of patterns designed by just a wide variety of needlepoint and cross stitch designers. And so I actually have 2 new starts from there, and one I forgot to put in my Notion, and that was this one, Seasons of the Heart, Hearts for Pam by the Blue Flower. So this is the chart, and this is my start on it. I am stitching this on, I think it's a 32 count French Blue by Fabrics by Stephanie. And that is what I have done so far on that one. This was a new start call for October, I believe, for my on my board. And then one of my November calls was Bendy Stitchy's contribution to the box called Ace of Swords. And I started this the other night, just got a tiny, tiny little start on the greenery in the center. And this one is just being stitched on just like a raw linen that I have had in my stash for ages. So bonus new start there. So those are all of my new starts since my last video and my finishes. So now let's talk whips. I have kind of a whole bag here because, as I mentioned, I've done a little bit on a lot of things. So again, in no particular order, I have fallen very far behind in my whip go calls for 2024. So we're just going to kind of rock and roll through these as best we can. And of course, this one I have picture of the chart hidden by the chart itself. So give me one moment, please. So the first whip I'm going to share is Simple Gifts Courage by Praiseworthy Stitches. I started this at StitchCon in 2023, and it was part of the Pam's Survival Sal. I am also a breast cancer survivor, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to start it. I got a piddly little start on it in StitchCon, and then haven't touched it since then. I picked it up one day out of the 3 that I'm supposed to stitch on it for a whip go. Here is the chart. She's a big one. She's going to take some time. But, and here is where I am with it right now. So at StitchCon, I started in the upper corner here. So I stitched all the way over here. I stitched sort of the top petal of this flower and stitched over here and stitched this over here. And that was where I started before I picked it up again. So I have added, oops, wrong way. So I've added the heart, I've added the rest of this flower and started in on this flower down here. I am stitching this on an even weave by Picture This Plus, I think. Do I still have the fabric name in here? Oh, no, I don't. That's not helpful. I forget the name of the fabric. If you are interested, please comment below or message me and I will look it up for you. But I am stitching this with Almond M&M silks. I am stitching it in Scarlet, is the dark pink. So that's the only color on the chart on the fabric right now. And then the light pink that it calls for, I am stitching, or I will be stitching in Rose. Once I get there, which I've not gotten there yet, obviously. So that is Simple Gifts Courage by Praiseworthy Stitches. Okay, and I still have 2 more days of stitching on this to meet the whip go goal on that. Next call is, or was, the Needle Worker. And again, as my whip go board this year, so projects that are works in progress, so projects I had already started and just wanted to work on some more, hadn't finished them yet. For my paper charts, the goal was 3 days. If it's a chart that I have digitally, then the goal is 300 stitches. So this is the Needle Worker by Cottage Garden Samplings. The goal is to stitch on it for 3 days, and I have 2 days down so far. And here is where I am. So what I have added from the last time you saw this, which was in my last video, because I did work on this a little bit at the retreat I went to in September. I'm just continuing to fill in the bag here. So it's not an exciting update. I think when I shared it with you last video, I was like down here, and now I'm up here. But I'm just working on filling in his bag. All right, so that is the Needle Worker. And this is being stitched on a 32 count Vintage Country Mocha. So 1 more day on that and that goal will be met. Next whip is Stitch All the Things. This was, where is the picture of the chart? This was a new start call in October, I believe. And again, I just need a couple more days on it. There we go. I've had this chart for eons. This is the chart. I'm stitching the larger one, not the strawberry. And again, I think that I have stitched on it maybe 2 days. And here is where I am. So I am stitching this on a 32 count Lugana in the color Ledger by Bestitch Me, right? Yeah, this is Ledger by Bestitch Me with all the called for DMC flosses. There we go. That's more true to the fabric. So that is Stitch All the Things. So yeah, I think that was a new start in my prior video, and I have added a little bit more to it. And I have one more day left on that. All right, so now we're into some projects where I met my whip go goal. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, Stitch All the Things, I did meet my goal on that. Sorry. That was actually the first one in my goal met pile. Next one, goal met, is Little House Needleworks, Jingle All the Way. Love this chart. Was, it looks so small there in that picture. I was deceived. These houses are huge. I have been working on this house for so long. Oh, I have hanging threads too. I don't even remember when I'm stitching this on. I started this project so long ago. And here's what I have done so far. So again, if you have been watching my channel for a long time, you have seen this before, though not recently, and you're kind of like, what's new? I had been sort of just above the door with filling in the white, and now I'm up here. So that was how I spent my 3 days, was just filling in the white. There's so much to fill in on this house, but we're getting there. But that was 3 days on that chart. Since it is a paper chart, got those 3 days in. So this one is done for now. And will be brought back out again at another time. And I'll talk about my plans, starting to kind of put together my plans for 2025. So I'll share those at the end. All right, 2 more whips left. Next whip is the Gatekeep-purr by Little Stitch Girl. Let me find the color or the picture of the chart. Purchased this at StitchCon last year. It's so cute, right? I mean, how cute is that? And I am stitching this on, again, 32 count Lugana from Bestitch Me. I used to be part of her fabric club. I clearly have not cut this fabric down to size yet. I'm not sure why. And here is where I am. So I have almost finished the house that's on the side of the chart. So I've done the bricks, I've done the shutter and the roof. I just have to go in and fill in the mortar and the window panes, and the side of the house will be done, and I will be moving on to the fence. Super fun, super easy, quick chart to stitch. This one I kind of wanted to keep working on, but I have so many other goals that I'm so far behind on in order to get blackouts on all my whip go boards this year, so I moved on. All right, last whip to share is Drake the Warrior Kitty. Oh, I don't have a printout of what he looks like. Let me pull him up while I am talking. So this is my one and only full coverage piece, fully enabled by Jen, the Backcountry Stitcher. She stitched him a while ago, and he's so stinking cute. And I was just like, I don't like full coverage. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to enjoy watching her progress. And then the more she got done on him, the more I was like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. I need him in my life. And next thing you knew, I had purchased it, and I am now working on a full coverage piece. So here is the finished chart. He's so cute, right? Look at his little face. Look at his little eyes and his little nose and his little armor. He's so cute. So this is Drake. And previously, I had just the saddest little start on him. I waffled back and forth for a while on whether to UFO my first start and start again on a new piece of fabric. I'm stitching this on a 28 count Monaco 1/1, but this roll of Monaco that I got, it's just the Charles Craft Monaco, which usually is fine. I mean, it's not the highest quality fabric in the world, but it's usually fine. This stuff is so overstarched. It's getting better slowly, right? Like as I handle it, it's softening a little bit. But when I was first stitching on it, it was shredding my single strand of DMC, and it was making it very not fun to work on. This is also difficult to finish my threads off. just because they're so tight, this is the back, they're so tight to the back of the fabric that it's very difficult to get my needle under them. So if anyone who's more experienced with sort of the tiny full coverage stitching has advice on how to finish my threads better, I'm using a size 28 needle. I don't know if I should maybe like switch to a beading needle or something. I don't really want to because beading needles are a little sharper, and I don't want to poke my finger, but I definitely welcome suggestions or advice. But she's not much now. This is where I am. The last time I shared this, I had really just kind of this 10 by 10 block done in all of the one color. So I have extended over to the side, and not that you can really tell, but I did switch a color to the slightly darker color in the background. And yeah, so that's my progress on Drake. That I put in like 320 stitches, and so he's done for now. At this rate, I'll be 87 before he's done. But hopefully not. Again, we'll talk about that in my plans. That is my last whip for this video to share with you. In terms of acquisitions, I really only have two. One is, and I can't show it to you because it has charts all in it, but right now through November 17th, I believe, on Instagram, a whole mess of designers have come together. I believe it was organized by Amanda of Bad Stitch and their Spellbound Stitches series, but it is a new collaboration of, I think, 30 or 32 designers. It is a book of bookmarks, sort of across different genres of reading, for a donation to one of several pre-selected literacy-related organizations. You can receive a copy of this Spellbound Stitches bookmarks pattern book. If you've not seen it on Instagram, I will do what I can to find Amanda's original post about it with all the instructions for how to donate and submit proof of your donation to receive a copy of the pattern book. First off, the patterns are amazing. There are so many phenomenal charts in there. It's really taking my discipline to not just start kitting bookmarks up, because I can't. I have too many things I'm working on, I'm too far behind. But it's a great, great book. So I did purchase that. My other acquisition that I actually acquired back in like February, but it arrived recently, is my, how about I not show my address to the world? Is my box for the Evertote Modern Folk Embroidery Holiday Countdown, which starts on December 1st. So still have 3 weeks to wait for this one, but excited about that as well. Those are really my only acquisitions, other than I'm in the Tiny Modernist Patreon. Her November chart is a fall folk dragon that also I had to restrain myself from kitting up immediately because he's fabulous. And I really, really want to start stitching him. I have a soft spot for dragons. Anyone who knows me or watches this channel with any regularity knows that I have several different dragon charts going on right now. I have a problem. Okay, so those are my only two acquisitions. I'm so busy trying to use up the stash that I have and stitch the charts that I already own that I'm really not buying much new, which is good. At least not stitching related new. Okay, plans. So my November plans are to catch up on my board calls that I have not yet finished, as well as obviously my complete my November board calls. So if you are new to this channel or haven't tuned in for a while and have forgotten, this is my second year participating in WhipGo, which is basically a stitching bingo game created by Jessie of Jessie Marie Does Stuff, where you create a bingo board in whatever way you want. It was originally envisioned to be a way of challenging yourself to work on your whips, which is why it is called WhipGo. But people use it for all kinds of different things. This year, because I had a moment of insanity, I created 3 different WhipGo boards. One is a traditional WhipGo board to get me working on my whips. The other is a Safgo board where I picked small charts and I'm challenging myself to both start and finish in the month that they are called. And my third is a starts board with 24 new starts on it. I didn't put anything in the free square to participate in the 24 new starts in 2024. So each month I have 6 projects that are called. For my Safgos, obviously I am trying to start and finish them in the month that they are called. For my new starts and my whips, my goal is, as I mentioned earlier, if it's a paper chart, to stitch on it for 3 days, or if it's a digital chart, to put in 300 stitches or more. So that's kind of where I'm at. So in terms of plans for November, I have fallen quite far behind on my board, so I'm really doing what I can to catch up. And then also, obviously, I now have my November calls on top of all of that. So let me share with you what my November calls were. So first, in my new starts, one of the calls was Ace of Swords by Bendy Stitchy Designs, which I already started, stitched on for 1 day, shared with you earlier. My other new start call, let me pull up because I don't have a printout of it, is Book House by Stone Street Stitchworks. And love this chart. It's so pretty. I love the trees. You know, the leaves are actually open books. I think it's so, so pretty. This has been on my list of things to start for a long, long time. I haven't kitted it up yet, so we'll see. It's November 9th already. I don't even have it kitted. I am trying to decide between whether to stitch it as called for or whether to do a floss conversion. Bridget, the museum stitcher, go back to one of her very, very early floss tubes, like probably in the first 10 episodes. She shared her finish of this chart, and she did a conversion to really, really beautiful fall colors. Now, I would argue the original chart is already a little fall-y, but she sort of switched to much more sort of vibrant fall colors that were really pretty. And so I have a copy of her floss conversion as well. So just kind of, I'll probably just have to pick all the colors and just compare and see what I think I might want to do. But this is my other new start call for the month of November. In terms of my Whip Go calls, so projects that are already started that I need to work on, the 2 whips called were Spring Dragon by Ingleside Imaginarium, and that is this chart. And here is my starting point on this chart. I purchased this as part of a kit. So this fabric is lime, I believe. Jade, I'm sorry. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, it is lime. It's a linen called Lime by Picture This Plus, I think. Okay, and I always have to look and see, wait, which way is up? Here we go. This way is up. Here is my starting point on this one. Oh no, Calvin's upside down. Unacceptable. Or wait, or maybe... No, Calvin's right side up. I'm upside down. There we go. That's the top of the wing there. So here's, see, Calvin's keeping me up. So here's my starting point on this one. So again, this is a paper chart. So my goal will be to stitch on this for 3 days in the month of November. And my second Whip Go call is The Reindeer by Cottage Garden Samplings. Again, another one of their Year in the Woods charts. So here's that one. And here is my starting point on the reindeer. I can figure out where the top is. There we go. So I've just been working on his antlers to start. So they're very big. That is my starting point for the reindeer. And finally, my 2 start and finish calls. So one was the pincushion that I shared already, the Enjoy the Stitch pincushion, the tomato that I'd already started. So that one was a pretty ambitious chart to put in my start and finishes. Honestly, it's small, but it's dense. So eek. And then my second Safgo call was Alphabet Cat's Kitten. So there are 2 charts on here. The kitten is this one. I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Yes. This is, oops, no. I I don't know. See, I'm looking at myself backwards here. It's this one, the black, the one with the black finishing is the kitten. So that is my other Safco call. I haven't started it yet, but I have this fabric chosen for it, and I am going to be stitching it in the color, let go, ironically, I'm going to be stitching it, actually not ironically, I chose this on purpose, going to be stitching it in the color Calico Kitty from Classic Colorworks, which is kind of a cool kind of red to brown variegated. I do have 2 calico cats, which is one of the reasons why I decided to stitch it in that color. So hopefully when I record my next floss tube, if I am able to reach my goals, that chart will be finished and will be something I can show you then. All right, friends, that's all the stitching that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed. Would love for you to drop in the comments anything that you particularly liked, anything maybe you're stitching on as well. And yeah, that's my stitching. Very briefly, I mentioned earlier that I was kind of starting to think about my 2025 plans. Would love to hear what you're thinking. I think I have settled. This year, I really pushed myself with these 3 boards, probably more than I should have. I have kind of, now that we're in November, I'm kind of to the point almost where I'm like, okay, this isn't fun anymore. Like, I feel like I'm now behind, and I feel like I'm having to do these things, which, I mean, I know I don't have to, but I also want to reach the goals that I set. So I'm kind of making myself feel like I have to. And so I think next year, I shouldn't say I think, I have decided that next year I'm going to take a much sort of simpler approach to my stitching. I am still going to do Whip Go, but in 2025, my Whip Go board will be a prompts board rather than a specific projects board. So I'm thinking things like stitch on a sal. I have probably 7 or 8 different sals, or projects that started as a sal that I haven't finished yet. I will probably have some prompts that are, stitch on a dragon. I have probably at least 6 different whips that are dragons or dragon themed in some way. I'll probably have in there, stitch on your full coverage. I only have 1 full coverage, but I want to keep working on Drake, so I will probably put that in there. Stitch on something seasonal, stitch on something with an animal or whatever it might be. So that's my plan for 2025. And I will probably make it probably a slightly bigger goal than my Whip Go goal was this year, just because I had 3 boards running. I made it a pretty small goal that I clearly was good because I clearly am struggling to meet even that. But I'm thinking, maybe, 8 days or a week. Or 700 stitches or something like that. So something a little more challenging, but not out of control, right? Not something that is going to be hard for me to meet with my other obligations as a single parent. So that is kind of what I'm thinking. If you have a fun prompt that you think would be great on my Whip Go board, feel free to leave in the comments. I'd love to know if you're thinking about your 2025 goals already and want to share them. Would love to hear them. I love the inspiration that I get from the rest of the Stitchy community. Love how we all share ideas. And how we enable each other, but I'm trying my best to avoid the enabling and really work on using up the charts and the patterns and finishing the whips that I already have, because the one thing that my boards this year have done with those 24 new starts in 2024 is I now have even more whips than I've ever had before. So I'm actually trying to see if I can pull up quickly exactly how many whips I have at present. So my current in progress count is 64 projects. Which reminded me, another prompt that I'm going to put on my Whip Go board is something I think I can finish, right? So again, something that I think I can finish in the month. So things that are, like I said, really maybe only a few hundred stitches away from being done, or something that maybe I just really want done, and so I'm going to kind of stretch myself and push myself to get it done. But that's those are kind of the starts of my plans for 2025. So would love to hear what you might be thinking about or working on as well. That's all the stitching that I have, and stitching related stuff that I have for this video. So thank you so much. If that's all you're here for, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for clicking play. If you are new or if you are returning but not subscribed, would love for you to click that subscribe button. leave a like, do all the things that we're supposed to do here in this Stitchy community, this YouTube community, to support each other and show our appreciation for the time that all of us creators put into making our projects and making these videos. This is just sort of a fun thing that I do to stay connected to the community, and would love to have you join me and be part of it. So leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you aren't, and if you are done, have a fantastic day. Happy stitching and take care of yourself. If you're wanting to stick around, only be another couple of minutes, what I've been reading, watching, and playing lately. So let me grab my handy dandy trusty little bullet journal and let you know I kind of have not been keeping up with tracking this as well as I usually do. In fact, sadly, in October, I didn't write anything at all. But I can tell you what I did in October in terms of reading. Oh, that's not true. I wrote one thing. I read one thing, which is not true. So in terms of reading, I've really been on a manga kick lately. I read all of the Boruto manga by, why am I blanking on his name? Anyway, it's the same author who created Naruto. Boruto is the sequel to Naruto. If you are a returning viewer, you know that my children and I have a borderline unhealthy obsession with Naruto. And we've been watching the Boruto anime, and it's so full of filler that we were getting frustrated. And I was like, I just want to read the manga and know the story. So I read the whole of the Boruto manga, the original 20 volumes, and then I started the second arc in the series, which is called Two Blue Vortex. I'm caught up to that now. The next chapter comes out on November 20th. So that's what I did in October, was read a whole bunch of Boruto. I also read volume 7 of Frieren Beyond Journey's End, which is another manga. It's also an anime. It's fabulous. I love it. I think I put a trailer for it in my playlist. It's a slow burn anime, but it is so good, and it is reflective. It is thoughtful. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. So that's both kind of what I've been reading and watching. Frieren is done for right now. It'll start again in January, season 2 in January of 2025. So I read that. I also started reading a book, I forgot to bring it down here with me, called Convenience Store Woman. It's a Japanese novel translated into English. I'm about maybe a quarter of the way into that so far. Very good. And lastly, in October, I started listening to the audiobook for What's Next, which was the behind the scenes of The West Wing, written by 2 of the actresses in the book, told from the perspective of service. It's so far quite good. I actually received the hardback book for my birthday from my parents, and I started listening to the audiobook while I was traveling, and now I'll pick up the actual book now that I am home. So that's kind of what I've been reading, watching, and playing. I have also been, what I've been reading and watching. In terms of playing, I made what might have been the mistake of moving our old Xbox up to the living room. So I've been playing a lot of Minecraft lately because I don't have to fight my son for the new Xbox down in the playroom with, the big TV and the big gaming setup. I say big, it's not that big. It's just a larger TV and a sectional couch that's very cozy. But he's down there all the time. So I've been playing a lot of Minecraft. I also have been playing a game called A Little to the Left, which is a very calm, chill kind of puzzle game. Quite enjoyable. And I also have picked up my Stardew Valley game again. I've played it a little bit. It was quite interesting because I literally have not played it in probably a year and a half. When I moved the Xbox upstairs, I opened my world to be like, do I even remember what's happening, where I am, what I'm doing? The answer is no, not really. But I'm more than halfway through the game. If you've never played it before, you basically go through 3 years on this farm and sort of get to know the people in the community and side quests and all kinds of things. So I'm more than halfway through. So I didn't feel like it was worth it to start over. I'm just going to try and figure out where I was. So I played a little bit of that as well. And that's kind of really what I've been reading, watching, and playing. If you are new here, I'm sure you have figured out by what I said about manga and anime. No, I'm sorry. I talked a little bit about what I'm watching because some of it overlaps with what I'm reading. We are also watching Haikyuu, which is about volleyball, a high school volleyball team. Probably one of my favorite anime I've ever watched. We have also, my daughter also decided she wanted to rewatch Voltron, Defenders of the Universe on Netflix, which we had watched together as a family years ago. So we are now sort of rewatching Voltron, it's a great show if you've never seen it. It's very, very good. It apparently is leaving Netflix, at least in North America, on December 6th. So they are very much like, we have to cram in all 6 seasons or 7 seasons or however many there are of our rewatch before it goes away. Survivor has also started again as my guilty pleasure. I love Survivor. So I've been watching that. I also, for reasons unclear to me, also watched the new season of Love is Blind. I don't know why I get pulled into this show. Like, I saw it come up and I'm like, I'm not watching it. And then like 2 weeks later, I was like, okay, fine, I'll watch it. And then like, I was kind of invested. And then I decided, I'm like, most of these couples I really don't care about. Like, what is wrong with these people? And so I didn't watch it for a long time. And then finally I was like, well, I guess I kind of want to see who ends up getting married. So I would say I less watched it as much as I kind of had it in the background while I was doing other things. And literally the wedding episode, I like fast forwarded through everything and just got to the vows to find out, like, do they say I do or I don't? In fact, I literally wrote in my bullet journal under watching, like, Love is Blind and then parentheses, why? Like, why am I watching this? It's like a train wreck. I can't turn away from it. But anyway, so that's what I've been watching. Would love to know what your guilty pleasure is. I know we all have them and it's fine. Sometimes we need an escape from the reality of this world that we live in. So that's what mine are. Lately, it's been a lot of anime because I'm choosing to watch the happy ones like Haikyuu and things of that sort. So that's it. That's it for me. So if you are interested in any of the especially the anime, I know I am not great at describing what anime is about, in part because most anime, when you try to describe the premise of it, like, sounds utterly ridiculous and stupid. But it's usually very good. I do have on my channel a playlist. I have a few different playlists, but one is trailers or like little explainer videos for like my favorite anime. So if there's something that you're interested in, and my subpar explanation, because I know they are, is not reeling you in, maybe go check out that playlist. And you can watch, I have put in that playlist the official trailers whenever I've been able to find them. And if not, then I have tried to look for kind of a fairly short, sort of simple, but not spoilery sort of overview of what the show is about for you to watch. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. All right, that really is it for me today. Thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end. I hope that you enjoyed. I appreciate you choosing to spend some of your precious time with me. I know we are all busy, and time is the one thing we can never get back. So the fact that you choose to click play on my videos while you're stitching or cleaning or whatever it is that you're doing, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Again, leave a comment if you'd like, if there's something you'd like to share, a question you'd like to ask. I do respond to all of my comments, sometimes not as quickly as I wish I would, but I do respond to every comment that I receive. So again, thank you. And I will end my video as I always do. Hug your loved ones, take care of yourself, and happy stitching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.